Let's get to Advanced Micro Devices. Those shares are rising after the company reported results for its second quarter and came out with a forecast that is being read positively as well, up about 3% here. Second quarter adjusted earnings per share beating by a penny at 69 cents. Revenue at $5.8 billion, also beating estimates. And the company now says for the third quarter, its revenue should be $6.4 to $7 billion. The estimate was $6.6 billion there. The company says also for the third quarter, its adjusted gross margin will be 53.5%, which is a little bit lower than estimates, but people looking on the bright side here. In the statement, they talked about the AI business continuing to accelerate and that they're well positioned to deliver strong revenue growth in the second half of the year, led by demand for some of their processors here. So all of this lending to some of the gains that we're seeing in the after hours.
Yeah, just seeing some comments here by CEO Lisa Su, who says they delivered strong revenue and earnings growth in the second quarter, driven by record data center segment revenue. Says their AI business continued accelerating, well positioned, she says, to deliver strong revenue growth in the second half. The rapid advances in generative AI, she goes on to say, are driving demand for more compute in every market, creating significant growth opportunities as we deliver AI solutions across our business.
Yeah, and to your point there, overall revenue was up almost 9%. Data center revenue at $2.83 billion. That's a more than doubling year over year. The estimate there, $2.75 billion. And just like intelligent cloud was the most important thing for Microsoft, data center was the most important thing to watch for AMD. And in this case, they delivered. So it looks like that is what investors are likely zeroing in on here.
Yeah, on the call, lots of questions. I mean, more obviously color and commentary the street's going to be looking for on what Dr. Su has to say about AI chip revenue. Also, though, the overall PC market, how she sees that evolving. As our own Dan Howley's pointed out, the boom during the pandemic, then the slowdown now, signs that it's on the rebound, and gaming as well, what she sees there.
Here we have the current stock market update for Advanced Micro Devices Incorporated, stock ticker AMD. Before we begin with today's chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful in your trading, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts below in the comment section so that other traders can find this information more easily on the platform. So with this stock, we will just be sort of taking a longer term view here. This is the daily price chart. So each candle on this price chart represents a full day's trading session. And as we can see here, the stock itself has managed to recently break above a fairly important downtrend line that has been present on the longer term time frames. So this does stretch back all the way to the stock's prior all-time highs, which came in at 227.30. And now more recently, what we can see here is that this downtrend line has started to break. So as this has developed, we've also started to see a shorter term uptrend that is starting to develop. And this is being confirmed by the indicator reading on the daily chart, which does show that there is positive momentum that's underlying the stock. There is still some sort of hangover, downtrend momentum that's being seen here as well. So this is something that needs to be kept in mind. But overall, this recent break of this trend line, trend lines really aren't that important on their own, but we're starting to see some other signals as well, which do suggest that this stock is likely to start to find a better footing here going forward. So next, we will just sort of briefly take a look at some of these shorter term timeframes so that we can get a sense of how these sort of near term price structures are starting to look. So we will move into the hourly price chart here and see that, we're starting to grind into some important near-term resistance levels, specifically here. So currently what I'm looking at does come in right around 168.80. This is, if you've been following the stock, this is a level that has been seen in the past. This is not the first time we've dealt with 168.80. But as we can see here, what we're starting to, find is that the near-term resistance levels from the September 27 trading session are starting to break to the top side. And this sort of helps to confirm this longer-term downtrend break that has been present as well. That would be this area here, and then we're starting to break above this resistance level here. So, there is some selling pressure here to start the trading session. It does look like the market is looking at this prior resistance zone because as you can see here, we did get a bit of a price gap here to start that trading session. This is also the Friday trading session, which means that the daily close today is also the weekly close. So this is a critical time frame here to be watching. And if we do see share prices close above this 168.80 level today, that would be a fairly bullish signal. That would be a very strong signal for the stock a bit longer term. So if that were to happen, the main level that I would be watching here to the downside comes in right around 158.10. This is roughly where the 100-hour exponential moving average also rests. So, I would really need to see a break below here in order to start to reverse that bias and start to focus more on the downside. So we're looking at 158.10 here. And this sort of gives us our trading range for the moment. But, the real question here today will be whether or not we close above this 168.80 level. I think there's a good chance that does happen. We are getting some selling pressure here, but, if we look at the shorter term time frames, that should give us some clues about where this stock is likely to start basing and possibly make another run higher. So as long as 158.10 holds, I would remain bullish on this stock. And the earnings report yesterday, of course, was also favorable.
It'll be very interesting tomorrow, kind of which tech narrative takes hold. Obviously, Microsoft is bigger than AMD, and so even though AMD shares may hold up, are we going to see an infection to the rest of the tech space from Microsoft? One other headline I want to mention here that, again, our Dan Howley flagged as an indicator for Microsoft, the company saying AI services contributed 8 points to Azure revenue growth. Now, that's been moving up incrementally.
Yep.
I believe he said it was 7 last time around, had moved up from 6. So it's sort of inching up there. Is that fast enough for, what investors want? Who knows? But it looks like that the company, is emphasizing that part of the business.
Yeah, again, listen, all eyes are on the call for Microsoft because we don't have a forecast yet, and so there's even more attention paid to what CFO Amy Hood has to say about the quarters ahead. What's interesting now, you've had 2 of the 3 cloud giants report. So we had Google report and disappointed, and now Microsoft reported and underwhelmed, at least initially. So now we wait for the third one, Amazon, see what they have to say.
Yeah, and not to mention we got to wait for Apple too.
Yep.
Even though it's not a cloud giant, obviously what it's going to say about AI going forward. They're
going to try so hard on that call, Julie, to get anything from Tim Cook and Luca Maestri. Because the whole focus, obviously, on the call will be they're going to try to get some color about the next iPhone, which you would expect Mr. Cook to take the stage in September and unveil. And of course, you're right, the bulls were pinning a lot of hope on. Well, it's an AI-enabled iPhone, and it's going to drive this big upgrade cycle. We'll see what we can get out of Apple on the conference call.
And by the way, just checking on shares of those companies, Amazon is down almost 3% in after-hours trading, most likely because of what we heard from Microsoft. And Apple is down a little bit, just about 0.5%. So when I talk about what's going to be the bigger ripple effect, NVIDIA is the only one that's up, but it was down 6% in the regular session today. So should be an interesting day tomorrow.
Our High Value Trading Strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market-beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market. Lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership and start trading stocks with the pros.